homework help for problem number 14 on section 1.4. So they want us to simplify this. 36x to the 1/2 times 49x to the 1/4. And in order to do this, we're going to need three rules. The first one is our x to the a times y to the a equals x times y to the a. That rule there, that if the exponents are the same, I can combine it as a single power. The other rule we're going to use is the rule that x to the a to the b, or a power of a power, I can just multiply the powers together, so I get x to the a times b. We're actually going to be using this backwards, though. We're going to get something like this and use it to write something like this. And then finally, we're going to use our rule of rational exponents, x to the a over b. I can write as the bth root of x to the a. So let's go ahead and start. And you can kind of see that this here resembles this here. We have something to a power times something to a power. The problem is the powers aren't the same. We have a 1/2 and we have a 1/4. So what I want to do is I want to rewrite those so that I have the same power. Now, you can't just change 1/2 to 1/4. That's 1/2 isn't the same thing as 1/4, so that's not a legal move. But we can be kind of sneaky about this, and well, let's show you. So 1/2, that's the same thing as 2/4. So if instead of writing 1/2 there, I write 2/4, I'm already halfway there. The bottom of the fractions are the same. Now this is still 2/4 and this is 1/4, so they're not exactly the same. But what I can do now is I can use this rule here, and I can take this 2/4 that I have. Well, let me show you with maybe a simpler example for a second. So if you have y to the 2/4, that's the same thing as y to the 2 times 1/4 power, because 2 times 1/4 equals 2/4. And this rule here tells me that if I have an exponent where two numbers are being multiplied together, I can split it up as two separate powers. So right here I have y to the 2 times 1/4. I can write that as y squared to the 1/4 power. And see, that's how I change a 2/4 power into a 1/4 power. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this 36x to the 2/4. We're going to change that into 36x squared to the 1/4. So let's do that real quick, just kind of a recap. So I have 36x, we'll write it down here, 36x to the 2/4. That's the same thing as 36x to the 2 times 1/4. And that's the same thing as 36x squared to the 1/4 power. And it looks messy because of all the parentheses, but just think of this 36x as the y we had before. If you need to rewind the video to look at that, replace all the 36x's with y's, and this is the exact same thing we did before. So what we've done is we've changed this 36x to the 2/4 into 36x squared to the 1/4. Maybe to help you see it better, we'll write the inside here a different color. Now the inside is all that there. And we're timesing that by 49x to the 1/2. Sorry, 1/4. Notice, though, that our exponents are the same now. So we got a 1/4 here and a 1/4 here. And so now I can apply this rule and combine them together to get one big exponent. So it's all going to be to the 4th power. What's going to be on the inside? We're going to have the 36x squared that we have over here. And we're going to have the 49x that we have over here. All right. So the next step is we're going to use this rule over here. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, I can combine some stuff in here. So this 36x squared times 49x. You could do 36 times 49. And you could do x squared times x. And if you do that, let's see, we got x cubed is the x squared times x, and 36 times 49, let's pull up a calculator here. It's kind of early. I don't know if I can do that in my head. 1764. So this is all to the 1/4 power. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use this rule and change it into a radical. So we have a 1/4 power. So that's going to be a 4th root of this stuff inside, 1764 times x cubed. And it's going to be to the 1st power. So if you wanted to, you could write it down like that. But the 1st power of anything is just itself, so we're not going to waste our time doing that. Now this right here is an answer that's probably good enough, but you can actually simplify that a little bit more. The 1764 part here, if we factor it out and pull out everything that is a multiplies by itself 4 times, we can actually pull out a 6. We'll talk about that in class though, because this video is already pretty long. But just know that you can keep going with this one more step, and the answer you should get is 6 times the 4th root of 49 x to the 3rd. So see if you can figure out how we got this from this, and we'll talk about it in class.